Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. Hello Exie, here before even I was. How are you doing? It's so great to see you again. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is the Rat Retreat. So if you'd like to help me help them, just watch my stream and bring your friends because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. You can also donate directly through our Twitch fundraiser. It's Thursday, which means it's time for more illustration work. Yay! I want to continue where we left off yesterday. We got a single Gryphon base color painted, so I want to continue putting color on the Gryphons today. So that's what I'm going to work on. Oh, wonderful. I'm always glad to hear it. Oh, I'm good too. Thank you. Yep, just another regular, super crazy hot summer day. Got lots of good work done before stream time and now ready to continue getting good work done. Look at how weird this, as this paint that I mixed yesterday dried, it started peeling up. I don't know if that comes across right on the camera, but it's like peeling. It's not just dry in a patch. It's peeling away. I don't know why it's doing that. That's very weird. Okay, so the color we were using for the base color of the brown Gryphons, there's 3 different color patterns for the Gryphons, was just this plain old, I think it's like yellow ochre or something. I don't know the actual color names. It's a yellow brown. I'm not super fancy color names. So I'm just gonna wake that color up with the medium out of the 3 brushes I've been using so far. This is the medium one. So that's what I'm gonna start on. I remember I wanted this one to be, but I want to get my notes out so I can remember which Gryphons were gonna be which colors. I think I remember on my own, but I want to make sure, so I'm just going to get my notes out. So that'll be this folder. Okay, I have my project box where I keep all of my project stuff. And it's getting quite full. I have so many projects that I'm working on. Okay, so here is the notes about it. So this one was going to be brown, and then this one. So yeah, just verifying that I'm remembering correctly. I'll just set that to the side. Anything exciting happened in the last 24 hours, Exie? Oh, did you catch my high five? I'm sure it's still floating around in space if you didn't catch it yet. I just remembered about that from yesterday. So fun. Okay, just waking it up. Putting water on the dried color, waking it up. Since there's just this little small Gryphon here, I don't think I need to use my big brush to wake it up. Just use this medium one. Oh, you forgot. That's okay. It's still floating around. It's waiting for you. I directed it at you, so no one else can get it. That means it's over here now again, probably. It's about to come back to me. That's so fun. That would be a fun game mechanic. If someone could set that up in a game. You know, like one of those sort of virtual worlds where you just sort of hang out in the virtual world together. Not anything special, but then you could set that up so that once the Earth turns in the real world, once the Earth turns to that point, then that person gets that item or something. Okay, I think I have got enough of this color ready. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to my brush, and here we go. This is just the base color that we're going to be building on. So I'm going to paint the whole thing, the whole Gryphon, in this color. I don't know if this little camera is good. There, that's a bit better. And the little camera continues to make the orange in the middle of the sunflowers look like some sort of neon fluorescent color. So that's still very odd. Self high five. Yep. It's coming back to me. Now it's going to be a high 10. I can refresh it. Refresh the high 5. And double it. I'm just using some water to spread the color out. So there's quite a bit of color on the brush, so I don't need any more color, just water to help it reach all of the edges. We've mixed some colors on the rays of the sunflowers, but for the most part we're just getting the base colors down for everything. Then we'll do shading and stuff. And I don't want to forget the tail. So I have the tail hanging down behind to help show that this is a griffin and not a bird. I'm going to pick up a little bit more color for the tail. Not too much though, just a little tiny touch. Because it's just these two little areas peeking out behind these sunflower rays. So don't need very much. I'll add a little water on top. But again, not too much because it's such a small space. Okay, that's good. And this one. I was just listening to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack while I worked on my Gryphon novel, and now it's so quiet without it going. That always happens when I'm listening to music and then I start live streaming. Okay, there's a little tiny bit coming out of the edge there, so I just use my towel. This is that same one from yesterday. It's all dry, so you can use it again. I love these. Once it gets really, really dirty and starts depositing color back down, then you don't really want to use it again, but you can reuse these blue towels for quite a long time. Yesterday I was trying to use this one, but it doesn't quite work as well. I think it's the microfiber. Something about that doesn't work as well for little fine touches like what I just did. So that's why I'll go back to my usual blue towel. Okay. So I want to bring up my, let's see, so this is my sunflowers reference. I want my Gryphon references. I've got my two brown Gryphons filled in with their base color, and like I was saying yesterday, the brown ones, which are the female ones, are quite nice to paint because they just have, they're completely tan with different shades of brown throughout, making their patterning. But for the male ones and the non-breeding male ones, they have distinct patches of color. So, and the non-breeding male ones are so interesting because they're like a mix between the female and the male. So their chest feathers, for instance, have some of that orange up at the top, but the belly is more tan, like the female ones. And the breeding males are all white on the bottom, which I don't think we'll see actually now that I'm looking at these two. are our two paired up males. That's what I'm thinking, that they're paired up with these female ones. So we won't actually see the chest on either of these. But we still will be able to tell the difference, because another thing that's unique about the non-breeding male pattern is that the blue head has little patches of brown throughout, little tiny specks of brown all throughout the head. So I wonder if even doing the non-breeding males with this same, maybe a lighter version of this brown color. I'm looking at my reference images on my screen over here, and it seems like that might actually be the way to go. So it's not quite as brown as this, but definitely not as white as the page. So let's do that. Since I've got that color prepared anyway, in order to make it not as dark or not as intense a color as this one, I'm going to put a water down on the page first and then apply the color so that it'll be watered down. Literally watered down. So it's filling in this one with some water. And it's kind of tough because you can't tell for sure that you got water where you want or that you didn't get water where you don't want, because it's hard to see. But as much as possible, I'm trying to stay within the lines, because wherever the water goes, the paint's going to follow. Oh, this spot is supposed to be orange. I just found a little spot where I didn't put orange. Good thing I have like a ton of that color. And I just woke up some green paint, it looks like, from the wash. Interesting. Okay. So I'll have to paint that orange on there later. For now, got that Gryphon's body painted with water. Just adding a light touch of this yellow ochre or whatever it is. I feel like I should get my paint set out so I can see what the actual names are. It doesn't really matter though. As long as I know which color I'm using, the name doesn't really matter. That's a little bit too much. Thin it out with some more water. It's amazing how warm. I didn't really plan it this way, but it's coming out a really, really warm image, which is perfect because this is supposed to be summer, and the biggest thing to me about summer is it gets really hot eventually. Alright, I think this is good. At least for a first coat. For the base. Just making sure it's all spread out nice and even as much as possible. Okay, I gotta remember. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Oh, okay, see you in a second. Paint sunflower disc below Gryphon, and I'm going to point an arrow at the spot in question. That's one of the reasons I love working on way bigger of a piece of paper than what my final image is going to be, because you could do this, like make little notes for yourself to remember to do something later. Because I can't do this yet, if I add orange now, it will just bleed right into the Gryphon, and I want it to be separate. So while we wait for that to dry, let's move on to the next one. So these three, basically, little trio of non-breeding male Gryphons. So I'm doing the same thing as with the previous one. Add water to the entire area that I want to be tan. Taking the opportunity to smooth out any areas where paint from the sunflowers got onto the Gryphons. So it's something nice about watercolor. You can't completely move it, but you can thin it out and manipulate it a little bit even after it's dry if you just add a little bit more water. Front foot is all that's left, I think. Right. I feel like it might have gotten a little dry because there's so much space to fill in, so I'm gonna go over again this first area. It's probably still damp, but I'm gonna add a little more water just to be sure. Okay, let's add the paint now. Since I'm trying to use really light wash basically at this point. A lot of my brush strokes are just trying to spread it out. It'll be really nice to add the blue in a minute because the colors are all so warm. So the blue should help balance it out, and it'll also stand out really nicely, I think. Oh man, my eye with the contact in it is getting really dry. Ah! I gotta hang in there. Break time isn't for a while. Alright, I think that's nice and even. I know I shouldn't, but I'm rubbing my eyes. Sometimes that actually helps. I know it's not good. I know you shouldn't do it. But I did it anyway. Okay, this little one in the back is the last one. It's so small. Wonder if this will be fine. I was wondering if maybe I should use my bigger brush or my smaller brush. This one will be fine though. Gotta remember not to put too much paint down. This is so tiny. Shouldn't need too much. Little teeny tiny claws. Here comes the paint. guiding it into this teeny tiny front legs. Trying to make sure it reaches the edges of the figure. There. That's good. So what next? It's really tough. The line, but we won't have to worry about it because the two that are going to be the breeding male color are only seen from behind. So, yeah, mostly I just need the blue, I think. Blue, black, and white are what's on the head, neck, shoulders, back, wings. Excellent. Here's an image from behind so I can see what it looks like. I'm looking through my reference image gallery over here. So I need to look at this picture larger. Okay. So it's not a pure blue color. There's a lot of black or gray feathers mixed in, especially across the shoulder blades where the wings meet the body. The head is a much more pure blue, and then also farther down the body, past the shoulders. But I think starting with a blue base will be good, and then we'll build that black or gray color on top. Yeah, so do I just want to use one of my colors directly from the pan, or I think I'll do a test swatch on one of my margins here. So I'm going to take my 1-inch wash brush and wake up this light blue color. I guess I'd call it sky blue. I don't know what the official color is. Official color name, sky blue color. Or light blue. Alright, that's probably good. And I guess I'll just use this brush to swatch it. So just do a little. So I'll let that dry and see what that looks like. I will rinse my brush out while I'm waiting. I think it's actually the perfect color though. That's so nice. This is such a vibrant piece that I keep using colors directly. I want to say directly from the tube, but they're not in the tube anymore. They're dried and in the wells. They're not pan colors exactly because they didn't come as a little cake. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm using a lot of colors directly as they are without mixing them. So it just saves a little bit of time here and there. Oh, there's a little hair in this. There, got it. Oh, welcome back, Exie! I just swatched this color. I think it's going to be good for the Gryphons that have blue feathers. I'm waiting for it to dry just to double check though, because the color always changes a little bit as it dries. Usually gets lighter, but that seems like the perfect color. Oh, it's really gonna pop. I can already tell just looking at the swatch over here with the rest of the piece here. Ah, I'm excited. Okay. So, there's a couple areas I need to protect. Oh, thank you, Exie. You're always so generous with your kind words. Thank you, thank you. I think it's going to look awesome in a second. I'm so excited to put this blue on. But, I have to wrap my head around. No, there's another pet hair stuck on this paper. This textured paper grabs onto the hairs. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, whatever, good enough now. There's areas I need to protect. These longer feathers are gray. Then these shorter feathers right here are black. And then this little patch, which is something that's a distinct indicator that this is the lazuli bunting. Of course, this is the Gryphon version, but the actual animal lazuli bunting that I'm basing it on, this white stripe right here helps differentiate it from, I think it was like the sapphire bunting or something, a different one that looks very similar. So I've got to protect that. So the blue should only be on this first layer of feathers coming out, and then the head, the shoulders, and the body going down. So I'm saying that as much for myself as for anybody watching. I think I'm ready. I might need... This is such a big area. I think we might need a bigger brush, but I'll just try. it. See what happens. We're just going to start on this side and work our way this way. Oh, it's so interesting. That yellow wash I put on is visible through the blue, so it's already taking on a sort of greenish, slightly greenish hue. Get enough water. You got to keep lots of water to paint evenly a big area like this. And keep going back to areas you've already painted in to mix it in so that there's no obvious marks that differentiate one round of paint from another one. So I want it to be as even as possible. I gotta say, I love the feeling of watercolor paper under my hand. It's both soft and scratchy. It's so nice. Something about it. Just taking turns, picking up paint, picking up water, and putting it down on paper. It was really interesting yesterday watching, I think the channel name is Rock Paper Water, the person that we rated yesterday. They have a very different watercolor technique, at least for the painting they were working on. Very different from me. So it was very interesting to watch. I think it was a little more like how I've seen people use oil and acrylic, laying it on really thick and then manipulating it on the page more. Is the beak blue? No, the beak is gray. Just making sure this edge is nice and wet, and then get some more paint. Whee! That's plenty of paint, so let's get plenty of water to spread that out. Trying to mix it back into areas we've already painted, trying to make it nice and even. Rubbing my eye seemed to help with my dry contacts, so that's nice. I will try to remember to go put some eye drops in, though, during break time. It's weird. Sometimes, rarely though, But sometimes I can go all day without needing to put any eye drops in for my contact lens. And other times it dries out so fast that I'm just hours later I'm having to put eye drops in, and very soon the eye drops don't really work at all anyway, and then I just have to take contact out because it's worse having a dry contact in than just having my natural slightly blurry vision. Today it's working, it's lasting a little longer, so that's nice. That line that I did down the middle is still visible, so that's why I'm trying to work the paint so that it smooths out and gets more evenly distributed. Alright, let's put some water on here and a little bit more paint. I'm going outside the edges a little bit right here, so I'm trying to put my hand a different way. I think that should be enough paint. Just spread this out to the last line of feathers. I'm trying to keep adding enough water so that it doesn't dry before I get to the end. Also, spread this color out a little bit more. Alright, I think that's good for first layer. Let me see what color the feet are on these. I think they're black. Yeah, well, they're gray. They're gray. The female's feet are... It's dark brown. Same dark brown that's in the wings, the feathers on the wings. There's a dark brown color. It's about the same color for the feet too. So, okay, so let's paint this little head right here. This is another male one. I'm just gonna get the whole thing wet and then add the color because it's such a small space. I don't need to paint and add and paint and add. Let's just put water and put paint, spread it out, and it's good. Oh, and then we can go back and check this off, which is to paint this little bit of sunflower that's sticking out underneath that griffin at the top. Okay, now spread this out to the edges. Try to get it to spread evenly. This is why I do the wash at the very beginning. Because it really shows up, since it's watercolor. Watercolor's one of the things that makes it watercolor versus, say, water-based gouache is that it's transparent colors. That means if you put a color down, another one will show up underneath it. Or if you put a color down and then you paint on top of it, that initial color will show up through the other color. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm definitely seeing that happen with these blues. This blue looks different. Maybe not on the camera. I don't know if it really looks different on the camera, but definitely when I look at it on this swatch here, and then I look over here, you can still see this yellow and green that we put down at the very beginning. There's still a little patch here where the color is gathering. I want it to be more even, so how about that? That's probably good. So I guess next let's move on to the gray feathers for the male griffins. Although, do we have... It's so interesting. I don't know about the reason behind why there's so-called non-breeding males, but I wonder if they're still too young, and that's why they have brown feathers, because maybe the baby ones have brown feathers to be more camouflage as they grow up, and then they start differentiate from the female ones by growing those blue and orange feathers, and that's why they look like they're in between. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because these longer wing feathers even look like they're in between. They look both brown, like some are brown and some are black or gray. And then these guys are just clearly gray and black. Well, I guess I'll use a more pure gray color for these fellows. Well, this one doesn't really need anything. I guess it just needs the beak, and the beak actually looks like the same color as these feathers. Just about. Maybe a little bit different, but close enough for this. So the gray feathers are going to be these longest ones. So I kind of have to pay attention. Okay, so this part's white. These ones are black with little white tips. I'm going to get this flying one's photo up because it's way easier to tell. Oh, and these ones close to the body are black too. Ah. If I didn't care so much about making it inspired by nature, it wouldn't matter. But I do care. So I've got to do this hard thinking. So it looks like these feathers here will be gray. And maybe from about here. Well, you know what? Let's just make all these gray because it's such a small little triangle right here. We'll just make all these ones gray. I've got to remember. These ones are black, these little ones, and then these ones. Okay. I think I've got it. Oh, I don't have a gray color ready anyway. Let's get a gray color. I actually have something mixed from a previous painting that I didn't clear all the way away. So maybe I'll just use this. It's already on there. Looks gray enough. Let's just wake it up with the 1-inch wash brush because it can hold a lot more water. Wake it up faster. Yeah, I think a single brush of water was enough. Okay. So I woke up a good section of that. Now I'm rinsing out the brush. Okay, that's good enough for now. Set that back there. I'll show you the color. I think I'll use water. It's pretty dark. But as I've said before, I don't like adding white to it because it makes it look pastel, and that's not really... I don't feel like that's what we're going for. We want more of like a translucent looking gray. I'm actually going to turn this around so I can reach this color better. So instead of white, just using more water is usually the ticket. Oh, if you're hearing some snoring, it's Aoife, and she's kind of moving a little bit like she's having a dream too, so little puppy dream happening here. Since I definitely want to water down with water. Since I definitely want to water down, I'm going to do wet on wet. So apply water first to get the page wet, and then we'll put the paint on. Definitely being extra careful to not get water on these lovely yellow sunflower rays, because if the gray gets on there, it's going to be really hard to get it back off. So best not to get it on there in the first place. I think this is the edge of where the gray feather should be. Eva's still snoring. She's like grunting. Okay, let's put a little gray on. Spread it out and look like if that's enough, or if I want more, or if I want to towel off and make less. This looks like it'll be pretty good though. I've got circus vibes now. Now that the blue is on the page, it looks like a circus. The colors of a circus. Which I suppose is appropriate for summer. It's kind of a circus outside. There's more life outside than any other time of the year. So I'm just trying to spread this gray out evenly, just like I was doing with the blue. Let's bring some over to this section. It's technically connected by this little tiny, I don't know, canal, but the color was not going over there, so I brought some over on the brush. That's good. Let's move on to the other wing. I say it's good and then I see something that I want to work on. Okay. Let's go on to the other wing. I'm going to turn the page upside down like this so that I don't get my hand in that wet paint. Just like on the other side, I am painting with water first to get the page wet. Doesn't matter too much if I paint past the lines at this point, since these feathers right here that I'm not wetting down will be black anyway, but let's see. Yeah, should go all the way around here. Okay, now add some gray. And spread it out. Another good thing about watering down the gray to get the shade of gray that I want is that it allows a lot of the wash color to shine through, and that's really what I'm seeing with the reference image anyway, is that these feathers are not just gray but fairly translucent, which I think is part of why they look gray. Not just their color, but that you can see through them a little bit. So we're having that happen on the page as well. So the beaks were a similar gray color, so let's do those next. Load my brush with water first and then get a little color on it. Hopefully this won't be too much. Okay, it's a little bit too much still, so I'll just put a little bit on there, rinse my brush, and then get some more water so that I can spread it out. And so that I don't get too much water. If you get too much water, it'll go outside the lines where you don't want it. So wipe my brush off again to take off the excess water, and now it's perfect amount. And just work the color so that it's evenly distributed. Actually, I want to add a tiny bit more, just teeny tiny. Boop, boop, just a little bit. We might come back with some more shading and stuff. So this is just the base color. Let's do the same thing on this one. This one's beak is ending up a lot darker, so I'm gonna just take my towel and dab. So we can always add more if once it's dry it doesn't seem like enough, but you can't take it back if you put too much on. I mean, you can try, but it's really hard. It's better to not do it that way. The legs are also gray, but I think they're a little bit darker gray, more like the black. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on the lighting as I'm scrolling down. Yeah, for the most part, they are closer to the black color. So I'll leave those for now because I don't want to put too much dark color on while I still have light colors to work on. Just in case the dark color gets drawn out of its meant to be place. There's got to be a word for that. The place it's meant to be. It's meant to be place. It's desired place, not desired. Oh, well, whatever. Let's do this little part of the sunflower that I forgot. It's definitely dry now. And we have plenty of this color over here. I'm just going to use my smallest brush. Wake up some of this dry color from yesterday. So it's just these two itty bitty bumps right there. So small that I forgot them. Didn't notice them yesterday. Let's see if this is enough. Yeah. Yay. There. Sweet. Alright, rinse out this little brush. I don't need it too often, but I'm glad I have it because there's been little small spaces like that throughout this painting. Oh, so what do I want to do next? I might do the next darkest color on the female Gryphons. So I'm thinking more and more that I won't mess with the background because I really like how some of these spots have come out with the yellow intermixing with the green. Like a little bit of white page still showing through here. So I think that there's the next darkest thing is the darker brown on the female Gryphons, which is a reddish brown, at least according to these couple of photographs I'm looking at. Scrolling down to see if I can see some more female ones, but oh, here's another one. Yeah, it's definitely a reddish brown. This is a slightly different white balance in this image, but it still comes across as a reddish brown. The chest and those stripes on the wings remain this lighter tan color. These ones from behind here might be great for, let's see, maybe this one. This one, its tail is sticking out and blocking, blocking the wings. Okay, I'm going to go to this image. Oh, this is the wrong one. There we go. Okay. So there's not much time left before break time. Maybe I'll just take my break a few minutes early. Because if I wake up some paint and then go on break, I'm going to have to just wake it up with more water again because it'll dry while I'm away. So I'm going to leave this here and get up and go stretch and just have a nice break. So I hope everybody else will do the same. Make sure to give your eyes a break and stretch out, walk around. I'm going to turn on my be right back and mute my mic. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back. Hope you all had a great break. I remembered to put eye drops in so my eyes are all refreshed. Also stretch the heck out of my back. My back has been hurting more and more. But stretching it out, it always helps. I did my yoga today. I've been neglecting my yoga. But I did yoga today. Good job, me. Oh, thank you. Welcome back to you, Exie. I put a check mark next to my note here about painting this since I did it. Okay, so, yes, we are going to mix a nice red-brown color, or, to be honest, kind of already like this one. I don't know what the deal is, but this... Maybe it's just the frame of mind I'm in for this piece, but I really like the colors as they are without having to mix too many. So I'm just going to wake this one up. I think it's a nice color to be the next darkest on the female Gryphons. Just get a few brush loads of water into the well. Oh, that's okay. If you just want to hang out, that's perfectly fine. Oh, you're writing a poem? What's it about, or what's it for? Why are you writing a poem? You're always doing so many creative things. I've been thinking about writing poems recently, too. But every time I think about it, it's always really negative stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't want to share that. I want to share positivity into the world, so if I write poems, they might just be for me. And I was like, oh, maybe it would be nice to write a poem at the beginning of every one of my Roundup blog posts. Or something. But I shouldn't make more work for myself. I already have so many things that I do. I was like, what if I did this too? Oh, I just feel like it. That's nice. Yeah. Do you have any specific format you're going for, or more? Oh, it's on this. What's the deal with that? Poetry doesn't have to be negative for some reason. I've written plenty of poems just casually for myself, and they're not all negative. It doesn't all have to be negative, but a lot of what I've written recently when I write a random poem is negative. I can't show this. I don't want to release more negativity into the world. Okay, I'm thinking about whether I want to use my medium brush or use this smaller one, because there are some really teeny tiny areas to get into. Might get a brush that's in between. For the first time since starting watercolor, let's get a 4th size of brush out. I gotta get in my closet. Let's see, what's this one? It's not small enough. What about this one? Oh! I think this one is really floppy, but I'll try it. About this size. Oh, sounds like something just fell in my closet. So it was something like paper or something. Oh, yeah, I think it's my... Okay, it's fine. Nothing's broken. So, as you can see, this brush with the blue, that's the new one. It's in between these other sizes. I think that'll work nice, because we need this big patch here to be this redder color, but then there's little bits on the feathers as it goes down the wings, but all of the feathers have a tan edge. Oh wait, actually only need it on the first ones. Oh, we'll be fine. Well, whatever, I'll still use this medium one. Okay, so I'm getting the brush wet. Some of the bristles were sticking out like a bad hair day, so I'm getting it wet and trying to shape it. I might have to just trim this one off. nope, I got it. Yay! Okay, it's all into one nice smooth tip now. And I've got this woken up color. Get a little bit of this. If you're hearing some slurping noise, Chappie's licking herself. Okay, she stopped. I never know what gets picked up by the microphone, so whenever there's an unusual noise, I want to make sure people know what it is so they're not distracted. Maybe it's distracting anyway, but yeah. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, man, this is perfect. This is so nice. I don't remember the last time I've had a painting where I mostly just want to use the colors as they are. Almost always mixing, mixing, mixing. Okay, so the whole head and down the back will be this reddish color. Something about this brush doesn't carry, I mean, because it's smaller, it doesn't carry as much water, so keep having to refresh it more often. Okay, and so it's basically these top two feathers here are all this reddish brown. And how does it go along the back? Sort of becomes a grayish brown, so it fades out, okay? Having to look at the reference and then paint, look at the reference and paint. So now we're going to just fade this down along the back. Okay, and it's adding some more color up here. I'm looking for where, I think just leaving it all tan along here. It's a mix, but it's like, oh, I gotta look at a different image. It's like some are this tan color, some are the warmer color or the more red color. Let's look at this, another one. Okay. Yeah, let's just leave them tan as they go down. So let's add a little bit more color to fade down the back and become the tan color. Anywhere else I want this reddish brown. I don't think so, just right there. So this person over on the bottom left, oh, there's a branch right in front of the face where I need to see. Let's see if there's another one I can see from the side. Here's one, but it's in shadow. Darn. This one might not be too bad. Oh, it's so in shadow. Alright, there was one earlier that I think I want to use. This shows fairly... So the face has a little bit of the tan and a little bit of the reddish brown. Actually going to go back to this larger without being gigantic brush. This is I'll call them by their numbers. The size 4 seems like the reddish color comes from the top and then the tan comes from the bottom and just intermingles on the face. So let's add a bunch of water so it can fade into the rest of the face. This seems to be where each bird is unique as I'm looking at the bird reference images. Some have slightly different patterns than others. So I'm not going to worry too much about accuracy or anything here. Just about the idea of having both colors present in the face. Also, because this is basically still one of the first layers. It's not the first layer of color on this bird or on this griffin, but it's pretty close. We're not adding shading yet, in other words. I'm trying to see if this little patch of skin around the eye is a tan color or if it's black. Now, it looks like it's tan color, so I'm going to bring that in. And it's already tan because I did tan over the whole thing. I'm going to bring this red in there too. Nice. The beak seems to be brown too. So I'll add a little bit in here. This is a little bit more like shading here. Try to be super subtle. Alright, that's good enough for now. We'll refine it more later. Let's move on to another griffin. Work on these fellows in the back. Go back to those references of them. Yeah, I think I'll start by adding just some touches of this redder brown, because there's just little flecks here and there among the blue plumage on the head and down the back. So I'll start with this one. Let's look at this this reference. It's nice. Oh, the brush is so dry it's kind of splitting apart. I don't want that. It's too dry. No, too wet. Ah! It just it's the Goldilocks problem here. Okay, You can tell if it's too wet or too dry, the brush. If it's too wet, it'll look really thick and like sopping. And the bristles will be expanded because of all the water they're holding. And if it's too dry, the bristles will just be split apart with space in between. But now I think I have the right amount. Just put these little touches of brown. And we'll use this color as the chest color too, I think. So similar. They sort of have this brownish orange bib. So it hasn't grown into the breeding male, is what the scientific term is. Breeding male coloration. This brown seems to be present everywhere to varying degrees. So I'm going to bring it down even into these longer wing feathers. And I'll bring it in down here, the mammal part of the griffin too. Why not? Alright, that's a good start, I think. So let's do a little bit on this one, even though we can't see the head. But I've already set a precedent with the rear end of this one. So we'll just continue with that. Oops, that's a little bit too much. What I'm imagining is even down the mammal part, it will be mixed blue and brown for these ones. The mammal part of these griffins is an American water vole, which are not blue. They are brown. They just look like little water rats with teeny tiny little faces. They are so cute. They are unbearably cute. So you haven't looked at a American water vole yet, go Google it real quick because it's super cute. But I decided for the griffins that the blue color would go all the way through, not end at the bird part, but continue on into the mammal part. Alright, so we've got specks of brown added to this one. Now we just need little hints here. This one is so far away. We'll just try to, no, I'll switch actually to my smallest brush. Rinse my medium one out. What size is this? 1. Because saying small and medium doesn't help because they're describing different brushes now. So that was a size 1. This one is size 0. So this griffin here is so small. You can't even really see it on the live stream. It doesn't seem there. Hold it up close. I exist. That griffin back there. Don't worry, Griffin. You're going to be receiving more presents now. Presently receiving more presents. Let's see. I'm going to see the head again. Yeah, it's all through the head. I just try not to. I gotta do the teeny tiny marks. It's kind of hard. Well, not bad. This brush is nice and small. Go, Zero Brush, go. And then the bib on the front. Distinctive characteristic of the male lazuli buntings, which I'm basing these griffins on. Lazuli griffins. Yeah, all the way down, even into the tail. And a little bit in the wings too. It's so far away, I think that it would be very subtle in the wings. Although the paint has actually ended up being more prominent on the wings. Let's see, has it dried too much already, or can I think I was able to lift a little bit off. Okay, next, yeah, the feet look dark black on these ones. I think I might be getting to the point where I want to add much darker color, though I suppose I can add blue now to these three. I'm not sure how I'm going to approach this. In order to not lose the brown, should I paint around or should I just paint over and hope it shows through? It's tough. I think I'll just go for it. Go for it and see what happens. Looks like I should paint around because the blue is just going to completely obscure this brown color if I don't. So this blue is going to take longer to apply than the other ones. So I'm going to paint around all these brown splotches. Splotches. Oh, I got a speck of blue right there. I didn't notice that until now. That always happens with my paintings. I always end up getting like a little speck here and there, color that flicked off the brush and I didn't realize it. Then I just fix it in Photoshop. Sometimes I don't fix it. Sometimes I kind of like that, and then I leave it. Oh, this is the end of the blue. Although, well, there's a little bit here and there. These ones are the toughest because there's a little bit of blue on the wings, but the wings are mostly sort of brown, black, and gray. The head is the distinct blue area, and under the wings. So I was going to bring this blue down, though, into the mammal part too, which makes sense because under the wings, I can see that under the wings on the birds is blue. So having under the wings on the griffins be blue is just natural. definitely going to bring it into the tail. Okay, sweet. That one's done for that pass. So let's do this one next. Maybe I'll go to this size, back to the size 1 brush. This is a much more cognitively taxing session than yesterday. Yesterday was super relaxed, not too much thinking necessary. This time though, I have a lot of decision making. Problem solving. That's what I find fun about illustration. It's like making your own puzzle and then you have to solve it. A little bit too much color that time. I love painting on top of this tan color. It just looks really nice. It's like easy on the eyes or something. Just literally on my eyes. Tan color is easier to look at. Okay, the tail. It's cute them having blue tails. I don't know if I've seen a rodent with a long tail with a blue tail. Either as a character or as like a real. I don't think there's any. I wonder if there's any blue. Hold on, I'm interested. Other than like blue whale. Wait, I'm gonna ask the Gemini thing. Are there any blue furry mammals in real life? Ask my Gemini AI thing. Ah. It says there are no mammals in the world with truly blue fur. Mammals get their fur color from pigments called melanin and carotenoids. These pigments can only produce browns, blacks, yellows, reds, and oranges. The blue we see in some birds and insects comes from a different phenomenon called structural coloration. Oh, I've seen a video about this. This is when the microscopic structure of something scatters light in a way that makes it appear blue. While there aren't any truly blue mammals, there are a few that have fur that appears grayish blue due to a combination of melanin and guard hairs that reflect light. One example is the Arctic fox, which has a thick white coat in the winter that sheds to a blue-gray in the summer. Yeah, I remember learning about that in a video, that there's not really, I think there's one rare instance of true blue in nature, but like pigment, true blue pigment in animals in nature, but in general, blue animals are actually just refracting light in a special way. Okay, enough distraction. We've got one more Gryphon to add blue to. I'm always learning because of that. I'm always learning. Actually, that's so interesting, right? I'm always learning because I get curious when I'm working on something and I just want to know. Okay, I've got to be super careful here. It'd be so easy to lose these little brown marks. The beak and the eyes are different colors, so don't need to worry about them. Okay. And then, yes, under the chin is blue too. Thanks for illuminating. There's a multiple meaning there, since we're talking about refracting light. You're welcome. I'm always doing that. It's not just on stream. The reason I do it on stream is because I just do that in everyday life. And sometimes I get sucked down the Wikipedia hole and I come out an hour later like, shoot, I didn't do the thing I meant to do because I got distracted looking at Wikipedia. Because, you know, you're reading about something and then it's like, and then it's because of the blah, 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 and you're like, what is the blah, blah, blah? You click on it, you learn about that, and then you're like, what is this? And you click on it and you keep going deeper and deeper. Before you know it, the day is gone. And the little tail, we get some blue too. Ah, so tough not to lose the little brown bits. Yikes. And where else? A little bit on the wings, on the shoulders here. Okay, I think that's good. So across the back it's actually more brown and gray. Yay! Okay, next thing. What color do I want to do next? I might want to do the brown part of the sunflowers. Go back to the sunflowers. Because that's the next darkest color. Except for maybe the feet of the female griffins. They're the same sort of dark brown, actually. Actually, even darker brown. Bringing my sunflower image back up. Yeah, I think I even need definitely a darker brown for the center of the discs. The sunflower, that brown disc in the middle. I might need an even darker one once I'm actually shading properly. Well, I'm looking this over and deciding, what do I want to work on next? It's so fun looking at this, though. It's gotten so colorful. It was already pretty colorful, but now there's a more wide variety of colors. Yeah. Whew, I'm yawning. Let's get a dark brown, and once again I think I might just go with what's already in the well here. This brown here seems pretty good. Maybe mixing it with this one so that it's not such a leap from the orange color. Or I could just mix it with this orange color. I have so much of it, a bunch there and a bunch here. I could mix some on one side. Yeah, let's do that. Since the orange color is what the base of the sunflower discs is made with. So let's wake up this darker brown. Add a couple brush loads of water onto it. And then just brush it until the pigment wakes up and mixes into the water. Alright, now bring some over to this orange color. Start mixing. Oh yeah, gonna need a lot more of this brown. So now it just looks like a yellowish brown. It doesn't look like a dark brown with an orange tint. Is this good, or I think it needs to be darker than this. I wonder if instead of adding brown I should add a different color. A green or blue. Let's see, what's the opposite? Brown isn't really on the color wheel. The opposite of orange is blue. But I feel like of the blues I have, it'll really cool it down, and I don't really want it to be cooled down. I just want it to be darker. But I'm continuing to mix. I know you're not really seeing anything. It's kind of boring. I'm mixing over here on the side. Guess I could do what I did yesterday. Move the illustration and then mix on camera so that it's not boring. I mean, it's still just as boring. I think it's not that interesting. Mixing the colors isn't that interesting. Because they're just gathering pigment from the well, placing it in the mixing area, and looking for that color that I want. This actually might be nice, at least to start with a base color. Looks like, almost looks like chocolate. Okay. I'm tapping the brush like this, trying to get as much of the paint to come off of it as possible. Because any paint left in the bristles just sort of goes to waste getting rinsed out in the water, so. Hopefully this is enough. Let's try this. I feel like it's a good start even if I want to add more some other color later. I'm just rinsing out my brush really well. I think that's good. Okay, put it on the towel. And move the palette back over to my left. Okay, so I think the areas I most recently painted are dry. So I can just start from the right and move over to the left. And I'll use my size 4 brush. What I'm especially hoping is this color will be different enough from the brown Gryphon's colors so that they stand out on top of the sunflower. I'm not painting in the whole disc, just this middle part that, depending on the sunflower, is bigger or smaller. It's actually kind of tough to make a circle inside a circle while not painting the Gryphon that's standing on top of it. Oh, there's a little piece of something there. I don't know. Piece of paper? Not sure. And I got it off. Put it in the water bowl. Okay, need a little bit more paint here, so that's what I'm doing. And this edge I want to be a little rough. I don't want it to be super smooth. So this whole area is all the disc flowers that we learned about. The sunflower actually has multiple, many multiple little flowers, and the petals are actually ray flowers that grow out flat, and then in the middle are the disc flowers that are super tiny. So because of that, it shouldn't be a super smooth edge. It should be a rough looking edge. Alright, that's good enough for the first pass. Let's move on to the next one. Trying to make sure this side is just as dark as the other side so that it looks like it's existing underneath the Gryphon, even though on the page it's not. There. That's pretty good. Next one up here. I'll make this one a little bit smaller. That's all we see since the body is covering the other side. Maybe a little bit under the this toe, but yeah, that's probably about it. Alright, so this one. Man, I just saw this on my monitor over here. It's making an even bigger impact on the screen than it is with my naked eye. It's awesome. Because it doesn't really look that different for some reason. Probably because I've been working on this for almost, if you include yesterday, 5 hours this week. So it's one of those things where if you work on something for so long, then it gets hard to see it objectively. There's a little hair on here. I'm trying to get it off. Okay, I think I got it. That's why I like my illustration work schedule so much this year, now that I'm trying it. Workaholic perfectionism me is like, you're not doing enough. But reasonable me is like, having these breaks makes the illustration better because you can refresh and come back and see it more objectively. Plus, reasonable me is like, there's other projects you want to work on too, so there's just not time. There's not time to do more. I've been so excited getting my Gryphon novel into Scrivener. It's actually taking longer than I expected. For one, I totally forgot that my free write was on the fritz for chapter 2, so it lost a good portion of chapter 1. They were able to recover an older version of the file, so the chapter wasn't completely lost. But in the meantime, while they were doing that, I was like, well, I'm not going to stop writing, so I hand wrote chapter 2. Which I forgot, and then I had to type it, just transcribe it from my handwritten into Scrivener. That took like 2 hours. And then, since then, I've been getting the other chapters into Scrivener for editing, but that's taking longer than expected because Scrivener suggests not just putting the chapter in your manuscript, but dividing the chapter up by scene. Which makes sense, and I'm doing it, but I've never done that before, so I'm sort of reading my own story again. I'm trying not to read too much because I don't want to edit yet. I just want to get it in there and then edit all at once, because if I edit piecemeal, then I might miss something or make work for myself when it would have been easier to just not worry about it because I realize that this whole thing has to go anyway. You know, something like that. So it's taking a lot longer. And then sometimes I just read my story because I like my story. So I just want to read it. But no, let's get it in here to edit and make it better. But I got to chapter 10 today. So that means just 2 more. And then there was a short epilogue to tie some stuff up and give everybody a nice happy ending. And then I shall start editing for real. There's already stuff I know I want to do. For one, I want to go through with a spell check because there's tons of typos. So I was using my free write, which doesn't allow you to edit except to just backspace by either a character or a word, which is great because then perfectionism can't keep you from finishing. But that means that it is riddled with typos. So I'm going to get rid of those. And I also thought at one point that it would actually be better for this to, instead of in the third person, for this to be in the first person. So I want to rewrite the whole thing from the first person point of view. Oh, thank you, Exie. It's so exciting. So exciting. I'm starting to feel that for some of the edits, I'm going to need to do some drawings just so I can understand the scale of things so that I can describe them more accurately. Like the sizes of the different Gryphons and stuff. I sort of say it in the writing, but it's even to me, the writer, it's not really clear, so I feel like it might be helpful to illustrate it. Not like a full illustration like this, but just maybe a graphite sketch or something like that. The first thing I imagine I'm going to do is print it out and then go through and make notes as I'm reading it. No editing yet, but make notes as I'm reading it. And then I can put all those notes together just in case some ideas conflict with others. Because again, I don't want to waste my time editing and then get rid of that edit anyway. There's definitely some passages where it's been really hard not to edit because I'm like, oh, this is so clunky, or I really want to describe this a different way, but no, gotta hold back. I am loving the depth that just adding these darker circles in the middle is adding to the whole piece. The whole piece looks more three-dimensional. Okay, last one is very close to the viewer, so I'm going to zoom in close on one that's a really nice example. How about this one? Oh, it's not really much different from the others. I'm going to go back up to the size 4 brush for this, because this one in the bottom left is the biggest, closest sunflower in the scene. I think that's good for now. Oh, perfect timing too. It's time for the second break of the stream. Yay! So let's all stretch, move about, give the eyes a break. Let's see, where's my be right back? There it is. All right, I'm gonna turn on my be right back, mute my mic, and be back in 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. Hope you all had a great break. Time to continue more work on this scene. I don't remember. Oh, my cat Kiki's meowing at my door. Sorry, Kiki, you can't come in here. You're gonna jump on my painting and get your paw prints all over it. I'm trying to think, what should I put down next? I think the next darkest color is... that might be this warm gray on the female Gryphon's wings and their feet. Oh, thank you, Exie. Welcome back to you as well. I think so. The eyes are darker. Let's just do it. Let's go for it. So I'm gonna take my size 1 brush. Actually, I want to look at the... so the water vole is kind of opposite from the lazuli bunting. The lazuli bunting legs are one of the darkest parts of the body. But the water vole, the hands and the feet, are about the same darkness as the rest of the fur. It's a slightly different color. It's a little bit more pink. So I think this darker color that I'm going to apply, I'll only put on the front feet. But now I've got to choose. So I've already got some gray. Maybe I'll just mix a little brown with the gray. What kind of brown? Want this darker one? Yeah, let's take some of this darker brown. Mix it with that gray that we were already using earlier. A little bit more brown. Okay. I think that's good. I'm gonna turn my palette around again because it's on the opposite side. This palette is so big. It's huge. So turn it around so I can actually reach this color right here that I just mixed. I want this size 4 or maybe, I think I'll go to the size 1. Okay. So it's the front feet and specific areas of the wings. So start the feet first because that's easy. I don't have to think too hard about that. The whole foot, this dark gray color. Warmish gray. So this is just the base color. We can make it even darker later. Now, the wings, there was one further down in my list. This lovely gallery of pictures of lazuli buntings. There we go, this one works. So there's this gray color, but it doesn't cover the entire feather. The edge of the feather remains a sort of tan color. Tried to paint with that in mind. This is one of those parts where it takes a lot of thought because I'm not just filling in the lines with paint. I've got to make my own new lines using the paint. Ah, it feels so good stretching my back out. My back was hurting me again. Can't wait for this weekend. I got a new massage therapist, so I should really be able to get back to less levels of daily back pain. There's something about massage that helps more than anything else. I've even had physical therapy for my back pain. But my theory is when I do yoga, when I do physical therapy, I'm still actively doing stuff, so my back is still active. But when it's massage therapy, my muscles are not active. And so that's why they're able to recover. That's my theory about why it's the only thing that's worked. I mean, other than medicine, but I don't like the idea of taking medicine all the time. I'm going to save medicine for when I really, really need it. When it's really, really bad or something. Okay, see you when you get back. Actually says be right back. For anybody just listening and not looking at the chat or something. So this tan tip stuff for these wings, tan edge, does not continue all the way down. It doesn't look like. I guess I could try to look for a different image to see. There was one earlier from the side. Yeah, maybe it does a little bit, but it's so thin a line that it'd be easier to just scrape that away later, so that's what I shall do. So these longer ones are just going to be all gray. You're hearing snoring. That's my little dog Chappie. It's amazing how instantly my dogs fall asleep. Because every time I get up for break time and I leave the room, so to give my eyes a break, just by being in different lighting, looking at different things. And they get up and follow me. Maybe not right away, but usually by the end of the 5 minutes, they're both with me wherever else I am, and then they come back down with me into this room. And they're always just like instantly back asleep. This one, alright, this one was missing a feather. Last time. When I was drawing it, I was like, oh, well, it just doesn't have the same amount of feathers. So, that's why my painting of it ended up a little bit different. But I realized after that live stream that there's a perfectly natural explanation for that, which I've learned ever since coming to care for 2 pigeons. They shed their feathers. And it's not like there's instantly a new feather there. It takes a little while. It takes a few days, at least, for the feather to grow out, to spring forth from that sort of sheath that it grows out from. And so we'll just say that this one lost one of its wing feathers and is growing a new one, and you just can't see it. This is looking really good, I think. If I do say so myself. So I'm trying to decide right here. I think this lighter band should be right here. So this goes here. Okay. Woo! First one. First one done that patterning. Just the base color, no shading or anything. I think it looks really nice though. I feel like it's showing off one of the things I love about watercolor. Just the way this looks. You can see that tan color shining through still. And even how certain patches are a little darker or lighter than its neighbors. Sort of organic look I really like. Okay, so this Gryphon on the left is also like this one in that it's a female one. But there's not really any of this gray color visible. So I won't add any there. But these so-called non-breeding males, which are a mix of the female and the male color pattern, they have this color and the darker black color that the males have. They have both in their wings. So I'll start with this color first on these three, and then we'll make it darker later when we work on the male's feathers. The breeding male. I figure what it means by breeding male is it's old enough. So maybe these ones, they're not juveniles yet, or they're not juveniles anymore, but they're still not quite old enough. I haven't looked into exactly why they're called those different distinct names, but alright, so we'll start with these front feet, I think. These little feet, but I'll wait. These front feet should be this color too. Okay, now I'm looking at a picture of the wings. I feel like it's mostly on these longer feathers for the wings that I'm really seeing this warmer gray color. There. Maybe, no, it's more of a orangish brown. I feel like I need a little bit more on the back, but it's not this gray color. take some of this one that I use for the inside of the sunflowers and use it really thin. I'm going to put it into the head too, so it doesn't look like it's weirdly only in one spot. Okay. I'm looking at my reference image. I think that's good for now, for that color. So let's move up to this one. These feathers, I think, are going to be... Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe edged with a lighter color. They might also be that more black feather color. Okay, now this one over here. The tiniest Gryphon on the page. I should have switched to my smallest brush. It's kind of hard to paint these tiny little talons. Oh, I think I got it. But let's switch. Let's switch to the size 0 for the next bit. If you're hearing some smacking sound, I think Aoife is having a food dream. Her tongue's all out and she's definitely dreaming. She was going smack, 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 smack with her mouth. I gave both dogs before I started the stream some tasty treats, so maybe she's dreaming about that. Oh, yay, thank you! And welcome back! Yay, I'm glad. I feel like it still looks like a circus. It's so colorful. Since I didn't sketch it in color, I didn't really fully imagine it. And now that I'm seeing it, it's way more colorful than I expected. So close to being done putting down all the base colors. And then can move on to shading and details. Because sometimes it's not necessarily shading, but it's some small little detail that would have gotten lost if you needed to paint over it or something. One wing done. On to the other one. I'm not always conscious of the small camera, and I just realized that I wasn't really painting so that it was as visible as it could be. I'll scoot it over. And I think I'll do the same thing on the back of this one as I did on this closer one. Take a little bit of that dark brown from the inside of the sunflower disc and put it across the back. I think I might need actually some more blue in here too, but we'll let this dry first and then we'll add some more blue later. It's so nice. This Gryphon here now has more presence. It's not just disappearing into the background. But I guess it's time to go to the darkest color, which is going to be these feathers on this one, this really close Gryphon here. Also the front feet. And the eyes for these three that have visible eyes. And also a little bit on the beaks of the male Gryphons. They have a black stripe on the top. Not really a stripe, it's just like the top part of the beak is more black and it sort of fades into gray as it goes down. And then also these feathers on these three. Yes. Okay. So, well, what kind of color do I want? I don't want to go straight to pure black. Especially when I'm seeing the light hitting it. It looks more like a dark gray. So maybe I'll just wake up this dark gray that I already have mixed from a previous painting. use that to start with. That's probably good. And rinse the brush. This water is getting pretty murky, but there's only half an hour left, so I think we'll survive with this murky water. Have fresh water next week. Okay, set that down. And what size brush? I had to start with my size 4. We're gonna begin here. So I need to go back to a different reference image. Ah, here we go. Okay. Oh, I remember there was a really good one. Ah, this one. If anyone wants to see the reference images I'm using, I'm on the website called inaturalist.org, and it's I like the letter I. And you can look up all kinds of plants and animals, and people upload photos of them. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that these aren't just purely black feathers. The edges have a little bit of white. So I'm going to try to leave that as I paint. Leave that white edge. Oh, that's very thick. Let's water that down a little bit. It's a little bit too thick. Oh, sorry, I'm painting like almost off the stream. Moved it. Moved it so it's better placement. Also trying to preserve this edge from this streak of white feathers that's across the wing. As I said earlier, is a key identifying feature of this bird that I'm using, so definitely don't want to lose that. And paying attention to such details has paid off for me in the past when people have recognized the birds that I used for my griffins. They're like, oh, is that a such and such? And I was like, oh yeah, good eye, yay. It's a compliment to me. That means that I depicted it well enough that it could be recognized. Oh, sorry, once again, I am not paying attention to my small camera, and I was like totally not painting where it was visible. Whee! Oh, these little ones on the edge also need to be this color. I'm trying to get the little camera to capture this nicely without casting too much of a shadow. I think that's pretty good. Whew. Okay, the right wing is done. Time for the left wing. Oh, you're welcome. I hope that you have a wonderful night's sleep. Sweet dreams. I know it's always so late for you, so yes, please go to bed. If you're tired, go to bed. Sleep is so important. Plus, you've been with me for 2.5 hours, so that's plenty. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yay! See you tomorrow for Chibi Friday. Bye! Love seeing my emotes. My emotes in the chat. Yay! Might make a new emote for Chibi Friday. I realize I don't know exactly what I'm going to work on tomorrow. I feel like maybe there's a project I wanted to do, but I can't remember. There's no more gift chibis, no more fundraising chibis. Huh. Yeah, I think maybe an emote or some more vegan ingredients icons. But the emotes are more usable because the subscriber icons don't work for my first subscribers because they all have first next to their names, so they don't get to have a little tofu or broccoli. But I do like those though, my little food icons. I'll have to think about what I want to do. The food ones don't take very long. Just draw a super simple version of the food and then color it in Photoshop. Boom, done. Can tell how warm it's getting in here because my computer is just run at my PC, which I'm streaming on. It's just running its fans. Sometimes it ramps up the fans like crazy when it's starting up a program or something, but it's just had the fans on higher than usual for quite a while now. Though it's not as hot as it was yesterday, because I have not yet felt the need to turn on my little fan under my desk to cool myself off. Okay. Whew. Goodness. I think I'm finally done with these black feathers. Well, not black yet, but dark gray to start. I want to adjust my position a little bit. My back has been really awful today. I even had time to do my yoga at lunchtime, but I guess it wasn't enough. And I've been stretching really well during my breaks today, so I'm definitely not neglecting myself. It's just, it's gotten that bad. I can't get back down to, I always call it down to zero. A zero pain level. And I've been getting enough sleep, enough hydration. I always eat really well. But I have not had massage therapy in over 3 months, so that's gotta be it. Probably coupled with I'm doing half marathon training for the first time in years. I've done 2 half marathons. Or was it 3? 2 or 3 half marathon races. And the only thing that kind of sucks about it is that it really exacerbates my back running for so long. So I'm not a fast runner. I'm not terribly slow, I'm just kind of medium. I'd say like maybe a medium slow, and I'm working toward faster. But it's still basically 2.5 hours running in order for me to finish a half marathon. I'm aiming to get faster. That's my goal, is to get a little bit faster. My goal is 2 hours and 24 minutes, because my previous best was 2 hours 27 minutes, if I'm remembering correctly. But I have not even been running that far yet. The longest run I've done for this training plan so far was on Sunday, and I did a 105-minute run. And the first and last 5 minutes were walking because that was warm up and cool down time. But it's already been affecting my back, and I think that's another reason why I can't get back to 0. But with the massage therapy, that should help. Should help quite a bit. So it not only helps with chronic pain issues, it helps with my athletic endeavors. Yay! Okay, both feet are done, but I feel like this claw on the left foot got a little too dark toward the end, so I'm just gonna dab away a little bit, and then we'll bring the gray gently back in so it's not so dark at the tip. Yeah, that's better. Okay. What next? We've got 13 minutes. Oh, we can do the eyes. Let's use this same color and fill in the eyes on these 3 that have visible eyes. This will be the base color, and then of course we can bring in even darker color for pupil and stuff. More water here. I'm going to turn it so that I'm not risking. Oh, look, it's just putting that little bit of dark in there. I didn't really notice until I looked over on my monitor. It looks alive, and all I did was add a little gray. Yeah, they look kind of haunted when they just have the white. The eyes haven't been painted in. Even when it's the base color, it makes such a big difference. All right, I'm going to switch. I was using my size 1. Yes. I'm going to switch to the size 0 for this final teeny tiny itty bitty one. And I think the beaks on these 2 also need to be this color. So we'll switch back to the size 1. Do the beaks. It's definitely, oh, there's a, well, it's not on my brush, it's on the page. Little hair. Oh, this hair is doing exactly the thing why I don't want hairs on here, because it had paint on it. And now there's a couple little spots of paint. A lot of the time when I'm being picky about hairs on my page, there's not really anything bad gonna happen, but sometimes there's actually really good reason to not let hairs get on your page, little pet hairs or bristles from your brush. And that's one, because a little bit of paint got on it, and then when it moved, the paint moved with it and deposited some little spots. Not the end of the world, but it's a little bit annoying to have to deal with. So for the beaks, the top part tends to be a little darker. Of course, it depends on the individual from what I'm seeing in these reference photos. So what I'm doing is putting the gray at the top and then spreading it out toward the bottom so that it has that little bit of darker at the top. And then I can still use the same color to color the rest of the beak. Woo! Oh, let's see. What do I want to work on next? I feel like I've got all the base colors down, except for maybe a little bit of pink on these back feet that are visible from the water vole. Yeah, let's do that. I'll just add a little bit of... Actually, I have this color already mixed. Just get a really light version of that and just put a little touch. Super watered down touch. I'm just waking it up though. In fact, let's do wet on wet so that there's no hard lines by accident. So just paint the page with water first, just on this back foot. This will help it look different from the feathers that are next to it too. And then we'll just get a tiny touch of this red. There, and then help spread it. So I think the reason why the water vole's foot looks more pink is because you can just sort of see the blood vessels or the blood flowing underneath, and that's what makes it look pink. So we'll do the same thing on this and this one. The only other back feet showing. So paint with water first. Keeping it only where we want the water to be, where we want the pink paint to be. And add a little tiny touch of the pink. And then help spread it out. Especially looks good here where I didn't have this tan color in the first place. Okay, and then the other one, this one here. And a touch of pink. Help guide it into the toes. Super, super subtle. Especially here, you can't even really tell. If you look really carefully, you can see a difference, but it looks almost the same over there. But that's okay. It's on there, and we might enhance it later. Gotta say, I really love this sunflower. Might be my favorite one as far as how the orange and yellow interacted on the rays. This one looks pretty good too. But I like that they all look different too, because that's what I was trying to go for. Have a variety, just like I'm seeing in the reference image of the sunflowers. Oh, I'm stretching. Whee! Oh, my back. Sorry to complain about that all stream, but complaining actually helps you feel better, so. There's only 3 minutes left, and I feel like we are... Wait. Maybe there's one little space I missed. Oh, I found somewhere that I can do in 3 minutes. So I'm going to add this gray color to these fellows. I left these feathers undone because their wings have a mixture of the brown feathers like these and the gray feathers like these. I mean, they're all gray. It's brownish gray and the more pure gray. I don't know how to explain it. I forgot about that. So let's add those here. And it's still got that white edge. I'm going to try to incorporate. Perfect. I wasn't sure what I was going to do for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of stream left, but this is exactly what I needed. This little thing like this. And then what I was going to say will be true. That we will be done with the base colors, and when we come back next week, we can start with shading. That one is done. On this one. Gotta keep this little white stripe, well, tan stripe on these ones. They still have it too. White edge and the white stripe above it. Good. Yay! Why did it take me? I was trying to click to a different reference image and it completely... I was just clicking through and it took me to a different page. Did not expect it to do that. Okay. Okay, good. Finally, this one. Perfect timing. It is stream end time at this very moment. I don't know how much you'd see on this side. So like right here, probably. Maybe. Right there. There. I think that's as much as you'd see. Alright, that's good enough for now anyway. I'll add some more to it next week. Let me hold it up to show the progress compared to, well, not really compared unless you saw the stream from yesterday, but here's how far we got today. I am especially pleased with this. I think this looks so nice. Pattern on the wings here. So much done. We got the blue added. Oh, my camera is freaking out. It doesn't know what to do with the white balance because there's both blue and orange on the page. Well, sorry about that crazy neon orange happening. I love this one too. This looks so good now. Okay. Move this camera out the way so I can hold it right there. Yeah. I'll just set it down. Okay, well, since my back has been bothering me so much, I want to finish up a little faster than usual, so I'm not going to raid anyone today because it does take a little extra time for me to do that, and I want to be able to rest my back. So I am going to end my stream here. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time for Chibi Friday. I'm still haven't decided what I'll do, but I hope you'll join me then. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.